Let's talk first about your career path to becoming the commissioner of the CAA.
Well, I think if I had to bring you back to the beginning, I think my career in college athletics really got a start when I was in college as a student. I was the student manager for the men's ice hockey team at Providence College. And as a result of being able to have that opportunity, made quite a few connections within the Providence College athletic community. After going to law school and practicing law for a couple of years, I was fortunate enough to be able to come back and work at Providence College in their athletic department as their NCAA compliance coordinator. Was promoted a few times during my just under 9 years there, and ended up leaving Providence I started there in '97, ended up leaving there in 2005 for a compliance position at the Big East Conference. Stayed at the Big East Conference for just over 10 years, 7 years in what I would call the old Big East, then 3 years in what I would now call the new Big East, the current configuration, and then was very fortunate 2 years ago to get the job at the CAA as the CAA Commissioner.
I know one of the programs you have instituted in your 2 years here at the CAA is the Practice with the Commissioner program. Can you speak to us about that?
Sure. We started it last year. I started it last year, and the essential aspects of the program is that I committed to practicing one time with every CAA team that won a conference championship the previous year. So for instance, this year it would have been championships that were won in the 16-17 year. When I do it next year, it'll be championships that were won in the 17-18 year. And it's an opportunity really to do a few things. Number one, to say thank you to the student athletes for what they do for their institution. I think the average person doesn't understand the commitment, the time commitment, the energy, just the overall will that it takes to be a Division I student athlete is not easy. So I thank them for that. I also thank them for how they represent the conference in such a first-class manner, and I congratulate them on being the defending champions of the conference. Over and above that, though, it's just a tremendous opportunity to have a chance to interact with them, with the student athletes and with the coaches in a way that you normally never really have a chance to. And I talk to them during that time. I ask the coach usually, can I get 3 or 4 minutes to address the team? And in addition to those items that I just mentioned, I like to talk to them about 2 opportunities. Number one, not losing sight of the opportunity that you have to get a great education, because whether you realize it now or not, that educational footprint and foundation is going to set the stage for you to achieve the goals and dreams in your life. And then I also talk to them about the opportunity just to be part of a team and how college athletics can be so fleeting. It's here for 4 or 5 years with you and then it's gone. Take a step back during that process and understand how special of an opportunity it is to be part of a team, because the men and women that are part of that team with you, whether you believe it now or not, will be with you for the rest of your life. And it's really an experience that will transcend the rest of your life. So that's what I like to talk about. I've put on the pads, I've put on the uniforms, and it's been an unbelievable amount of fun, but it's also been incredibly enriching and a humbling experience to kind of get behind the scenes a little bit.
One of the things you just cited briefly was the importance of the education footprint and the foundation. One of the things that, as a CAA umpire and somebody that follows what's going on in the conference, is the success not only academically but on the playing fields. How meaningful is that to you as a commissioner? Well,
it's been incredibly meaningful as I came into this position. I often use the phrase that the CAA may be on that line of the last line of purity in college athletics. And what I mean by that when I talk about it is the NCAA measures academic success by an acronym called APR, the Academic Progress Rate. And in the most recently released APR numbers, the CAA is tied for 5th out of 32 conferences with the highest APR. So that single statistic in and of itself speaks volumes about what our student athletes are doing in the classroom. And then you couple that over the last 2 years with the success that we've had on the courts and on the playing fields. JMU has won the FCS National Championship. They went to the National Championship the following year. They didn't win it twice in a row, but just to be in that game 2 years in a row is an incredible accomplishment. The Delaware women's field hockey team wins the national championship 2 years ago. Last year, the Towson men's lacrosse team goes to the Final Four. This year, we have the JMU women's lacrosse team playing tomorrow in the Final Four. We've put multiple teams in the NCAA tournament in softball and women's lacrosse. Our men's lacrosse league continues to be, to be exceptional. And so it's just across the board within the conference, as what would be considered a mid-major conference, we are excelling athletically, but most important, excelling academically.
We're going to switch gears here briefly. Someone told me that leading up to your becoming commissioner and getting involved in collegiate athletics, that you were an umpire.
That is correct. And I still consider myself to be an umpire. I often tell my son, my wife, and my daughter that when I'm fortunate enough to have a chance to retire, I try to keep myself in pretty good shape, and I'm making a big-time comeback at some point. But I had an opportunity in my hometown in Abington, Massachusetts, to start as an umpire in the little league system. Worked my way up to minor leagues, major leagues, senior league, and by the time I got to college, was doing high school games. Actually had an opportunity at Providence College with Coach Paul Kostakopoulos to do a Providence College fall game, which was really a thrill. So love it. I have very few regrets in life, but the one regret I always tell people is that unfortunately my career path has not allowed me to continue to umpire, because I really do enjoy it.
Now, while your experience wasn't extensive, it certainly provided something for you as a means to view officials. So my question to you, obviously we're here talking about umpires, but as a commissioner, you need to focus on all sports. So my question to you would be, what are you looking for from your CAA officials?
Well, I don't think what we're looking for is any different than any other profession that we all deal with in the normal aspects of life. And it's just, we're looking for integrity. We're looking for the men and women that officiate our games to work hard and to be prepared and to treat people the right way. And I always tell my son and my daughter, work hard, treat people the right way, and have faith. Doesn't have to be religious faith, but it can be. But have faith that what you're doing is the right thing. And I'd say that same correlation would go to our officials, maybe with some other things added on, but work hard, treat people the right way, be prepared, and have integrity. And if that happens, I don't think we can ask for anything more than that. Unfortunately, which none of our fans want to hear at any time, officials are human, and officials are going to miss calls. We're not always going to have a 100% perfect game from everybody. But from what I've seen during my 2 years here, we're very fortunate in all of our sports to have officials that meet those criteria that I just mentioned.
As we sit here in the left field corner at James Madison University at the CAA Championships, earlier this week the announcements for regional umpires came out, and on that number of 96 names, there were 10 CAA staff umpires. How meaningful is that to you as a commissioner?
It's incredibly meaningful. And I think it speaks volumes about a few things. Number one, we all know what a great job John Porter does in preparing our officials and getting them ready. And that individual statistic of the 10 out of 96, I think, speaks volumes about not only the type of person that John is, but the job he's doing in getting our officials and our umpires ready to be prepared at the highest level. I like to say that any time that the conference achieves success, every member of the conference benefits from that. So if you draw that correlation here with the umpires, the fact that they've been able to achieve that personal level of success and making it into the regionals, that's something that the whole conference can be proud of.
And one final thought, just to follow up on your commentary regarding John. One of the things John has been noted for throughout the country is the implementation of his training program. In your 2 years now as a CAA commissioner, what has been your impression of the training program?
Well, it's exceptional. I mean, I think it speaks volumes. Just going back to the point we talked about earlier about the number of officials that we are putting into regional play. And John's a hard worker. He's a man of true integrity, and he loves what he does. And when you have passionate people dealing with topics that they're passionate about, good things are bound to happen. And that's what the training program has been, and that's what John's all about.